Today we are all going to discuss about the process scheduling. Let us first understand why this scheduling is required. Then we will be discussing what do you mean by scheduling queues, and we will also discuss the schedulers. So let us begin with process scheduling. Process scheduling is a very important task that done by the operating system. We have seen that the process exists in different states, isn't it? Some of the process may be waiting for some IO operation, some may be in the ready state, and some may be running. So their scheduler is a kind of a, you can say, software which keeps track of like in which state a particular process exists, and it is responsible for shifting the state of the process. Why actually it shifts it? Because it wants to allocate a time interval of CPU for every process, isn't it? Like say suppose every day we have allocated 4 hours for teaching learning, isn't it? So that the syllabus will be covered, isn't it? So likewise, what the operating system does is that it executes all the processes, and for execution of processes it requires the CPU. So that is why the scheduler tries to allocate this CPU to each and every process. And another reason for using this scheduler is that so that the CPU will be kept busy all the time, isn't it? Means say suppose some work should be allocated continuously to CPU, and when the CPU will be busy overall, we would say that we are using an efficient system. So process scheduling is a very important task, okay, which keeps the CPU busy all the time. And why actually this helps for the system? Because say suppose if multiple processes are coming into the system, so if each process gets the CPU, then every process will feel that okay, my work is getting done within the minimum time, isn't it? Means every process will get some kind of response within some specified period. See, process scheduling is required because first our intention is that every process gets the time of the CPU. Second thing is that the system CPU should be kept busy all the time. And once you have submitted the task, the process should be given the response within a minimum time. So this is the purpose of scheduling, the process scheduling. Next we are going to study like process scheduling. What are the different types of scheduling queues? So there are actually 3 types of scheduling queues. We are going to study one by one what are the different types of queues. So first is the job queue. So whenever any process comes into the system, the job or the process is kept in a queue. That queue is called as the job queue. So first queue in which all the processes are kept. See, when a process enters the system, it requires memory as well as it requires the processor. So whenever the particular process enters the system, the first thing that is required is the where it is to be first kept. So that particular queue is called as the job queue. Then after putting it in job queue, one kind of scheduler called as long-term scheduler, actually it picks up the process from the job queue and allocates it to the main memory. So ready queue means what? Here all the processes are kept in the main memory and they are just waiting for the attention of the CPU. So job queue, no memory is there, no CPU is there. Ready queue, here main memory is allocated but no processor is allocated. And after this ready queue, the dispatcher allocates the CPU to this process and then it starts executing. But what happens is that while executing the particular process, sometimes it requires that, say suppose some kind of IO operation is required, or maybe it is trying to fetch a file from some IO device. So the third type of queue is the device queue. So here the processes which are waiting for some IO operation and which are somehow waiting for getting some work done are kept in this particular queue. So these are the three types of queues that are present within the operating system. I will show you one diagram for this. See, what happens is that when a process enters the system, it is kept in the job queue. Now here it is all the processes are kept in the job queue. After this, a long-term scheduler is there. We will be discussing this long-term scheduler in just a few minutes. So that kind of scheduler will pick up the process. It will kept it in the main memory. Here ready queue, what is happening? All the processes are given the main memory and it is waiting for the CPU attention. Then after a while, one type of scheduler is there which picks up the job from this ready queue and then it allocates the CPU to it. Now here, while executing the process, maybe it encounters, say suppose, some IO operation. So what will happen is that it will then shift it to this IO waiting queue. IO waiting queue is nothing but our device queue. And then it will be kept there for some time till the IO operation is completed, and then after the completion of IO it is again moved back to the ready queue. Here again it will wait for the attention of the CPU. Then this CPU, say suppose if higher priority process enters the system, then what will happen is that again this particular process will be interrupted and it will be moved back to the ready queue. And if everything works out very fine, then finally then exits out of the system. So this is how the process throughout its lifetime moves between different queues. We will move ahead after this scheduling queues. Next we are going to discuss the schedulers. Maybe you may have heard me saying long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler. So first we will see what actually is a scheduler, what are the different types of schedulers, and what then each of the scheduler does. And then we will compare all three of these schedulers. Now, as is shown in the particular diagram, a process migrates or travels between the various scheduling queues throughout its lifetime. And then what the operating system has to do is that it has to select from these different queues. Then this selection actually is carried out by some appropriate scheduler. So how will you define a scheduler? It is a system program which schedules processes from the scheduling queues. And the last slides itself, we have seen that there are three types of queues. One is a job queue, one is a, say suppose, a ready queue, another is a device. So some kind of a system program is required so that all these processes which are kept in these queues are scheduled. Why? Because each process should get the CPU and they should be executed. So how will you define scheduler? It is a system program which schedules processes from the scheduling queues. Three types of scheduling queues I have shown you: job queue, ready queue, and the device. Let us see what are the different types of schedulers. There are mainly three types of scheduler. One is long-term scheduler, second is short-term scheduler, and the last one is the medium-term scheduler. So one by one we are going to see what are the role played by each of this scheduler. Now let us see the first scheduler, that is the long-term scheduler. Now long-term scheduler, it is also called as the job scheduler. In the diagram we have seen, when the first time the process enters the system, it is kept in a queue, isn't it? So that is nothing but our first interface of the process in the system. So what happens is that this particular long-term scheduler, it actually first determines whether the particular process is admitted to the system for processing or not. Now, what this job scheduler does is that it picks up the process. Okay, selects means what? It picks up the process from the queue, from the job queue, and loads them into the memory for execution. So in a way, I can say it picks up from the job queue and puts it into the ready queue. And there in the ready queue, what is going to happen? It will wait for the attention of the CPU. Then this primary objective of this job scheduler is that it takes into consideration that there is a balanced mix of jobs. Means what? Some processes will require more CPU attention. So they will be called as processor bound, and some operations will require more IO operations. So these are called as IO bound processes. So suppose if in a system all the processes are IO bound, then what will happen? Most of the processes will land up in that particular device queue, and this will somehow slow down the system, isn't it? And if suppose all are processor bound, means what? They are all going to wait for the CPU, isn't it? So what will happen? Then again the system will not be able to give them minimum response time. So what this job scheduler does is that it keeps a balance of IO bound and processor bound processes, so that overall the system will give a good response time. It controls the degree of multi-programming. Why we are saying it controls degree of multi-programming? Multi-programming is what? Multiple programs are kept in the main memory, isn't it? So what this long-term scheduler is going to do, it is going to pick up the jobs for processing, isn't it? So say suppose if it keeps a balanced approach, as I have said just now, then what will happen? The degree of multi-programming will be very good, and the system will give good response time, isn't it? So that is why we would say it controls the degree of multi-programming. Then this long-term scheduler is not present in the time sharing operating system, because what happens in time sharing system, it does not matter what is the process. After a quantum of time, obviously the next process is going to get the CPU, isn't it? So that is why it does not require it is not required in time sharing operating system. After this long-term scheduler, next scheduler that we are going to discuss is the short-term scheduler. Another name for this short-term scheduler is the CPU scheduler. Now you have put the process in the ready queue where it is waiting for the attention of the CPU, isn't it? So there should be some scheduler which will allocate these processes to the CPU. We have seen that dispatcher is there, which picks up the job and the process state changes from ready to running. So that work is done by this CPU scheduler. Here I have just mentioned you, the process changes its states from ready to running state. Then this scheduler, what is the work of this? It selects the processes and it provides it the CPU one by one. Means all are not given the CPU at one time. See, CPU is only one, so it will execute only one process at the time. So what is the work of this short-term scheduler? It picks up one process and allocate it to the CPU, so that CPU will execute it. So this is also known as dispatcher, and since CPU speed is very fast, isn't it? It works in gigahertz, so it executes most frequently, and it quickly decides that which process is going to be executed next. As I have told you, since the CPU is much faster than the main memory or any other components, obviously short-term scheduler is way more faster than the long-term scheduler. See what happens in long-term scheduler, the process is picked up from the job queue and it is put in the main memory. Main memory means RAM. The speed of RAM is much slower as compared to the processor, isn't it? So that is why short-term scheduler is more faster than the long-term scheduler. Next, last one scheduler that we are going to discuss is the medium-term scheduler. So this is also known as a swapping scheduler. Now you observe this particular diagram. See what is happening is that is in the ready queue, right? So here memory is allocated, then it is then given to the CPU. Now say suppose a kind of a process is there which requires input output operation. Means say suppose I want to fetch a file from the hard disk. So what will happen? CPU will shift this particular process to the IO waiting queue, and then it will proceed ahead for their IO operation. Now sometimes what happens is that this particular processes, so they require work of IO operation for much longer period. So there is no point in keeping these processes in the main memory. So that is why they are swapped in the secondary storage such as hard disk. So here that is why I have written swapping. Means these kind of processes are partially executed and maybe they require a particular operation for much longer period. So it is then removed from this ready queue, and after their work is over, then they are given the CPU time. So that what will happen in the meantime, another process will be executed by the CPU, because there is no point in keep waiting the CPU, isn't it? It will waste the time of the CPU if it continuously waits for this process to do its operation. So here the medium term scheduler comes into play. So what is the use of this? This is particularly useful for swapping the partially completed processes. So what happens in this? It removes the processes from the main memory. And since it removes the main memory processes, what happens is that it reduces the degree of multiprogramming. See, on what basis are you going to put the degree of multiprogramming? That how many programs are there in the main memory. So what this medium term scheduler is doing is that those processes which are partially executed but which require some longer time for execution, maybe some IO operation is there or some other operation is there, so they are swapped out of this main memory, and that is why it reduces the degree of multiprogramming. Now, as I have told you, this is completely in charge of the handling of swapping out processes. For what reason? Say suppose this some processes are removed from this memory. Like I have explained you that they may become suspend due to some IO request, or maybe some issue is there that they are not able to move towards the completion. So those processes which are unable to complete themselves for some reason, so they unnecessarily take the space in the memory, isn't it? So that is why then they are removed from the main memory and moved to the secondary storage. And this process of moving the process from main memory to secondary storage is called as the swapping. And those processes which for some reason are unable to complete themselves or are suspended due to some IO request which is taking longer time, okay, as compared to the other normal IO operations, then what happens? It blocks the system, isn't it? And that is why this medium term scheduler swaps out these processes into the hard disk. Secondary storage means, say suppose hard disk is there. And why this swapping is necessary? Because then it will improve the response of the entire system. Because what is the point of keeping a process in a particular queue if it is not being able to get its complete, isn't it? Because it will occupy the space, it will occupy the CPU time. So better way, it is rolled out of the main memory, and suppose if later on it is able to solve its issue, then again then it is given the CPU time. So medium term scheduler is nothing but it takes care of the swapping process. And why this swapping is essential? Because to it helps the system to give a good response. Now let us compare all these three schedulers: long term, short term and medium term. As I have told you, long term is called as the job scheduler. Then it is not present in the time sharing system. Speed is very less because it is dealing with main memory. Then it picks up the process from the pool, okay, and then it allocates the main memory to that process, and it offers complete control of the multi-programming. Then consider short-term scheduler. Another name for short-term scheduler is CPU scheduler. Again, this is not present in time sharing because every process is going to get the CPU time based on the quantum. Then this is fastest because obviously because CPU is way more faster than other components, and it picks up the process from the ready queue, and it offers less control of the multi-programming. Because on what basis multi-programming is decided, it depends on the number of jobs kept in the main memory. And the last is the medium term scheduler. This is also known as the swapping scheduler, and this is a very important component of time sharing system, because here what is happening, those processes which are not getting completed, so obviously they have to be removed from the main memory. Its speed is medium, hence the name medium term, and it helps to send process back to memory. And since it removes the process from the memory, it reduces the level of multi-programming. So this is overall how the three types of schedulers